Can you talk a little bit about, now that AbbVie has taken over control of the Botox franchise, kind of anything that they're doing different that maybe you all could apply, or as you step back and look at the overall marketplace, in terms of timing for you all in DTC and really differentiating this product as we think through maybe the latter part of 2022, not necessarily the near term? Is there kind of any nuances you can give us as you approach this market that maybe has been different in the past that we're going to try to do a little bit different in the future? Thanks so much.
Sure. Thanks, Ken. No, not really. I mean, obviously, as the market leader, they've talked a lot about sort of increasing DTC dollars. They've got a big push into training new injectors, so they're going to expand sort of the number of folks that are actually doing toxin treatments. Our strategy is a little different, right? We're going after sort of the top of the pyramid on that side of it. But I think, all of these things happening in concert are no doubt going to help grow the overall market. So we would expect that they're going to continue to run their playbook, which is, more awareness dollars, more couponing to customers, training of new injectors, all of which will help grow the market. And as we come into the market with innovation, we will also drive more consumer awareness, more coming in, but ours is going to be much more focused again on these kind of prestige and high-end practices. So we don't expect a whole lot, different in terms of the way that we view the market. Certainly once we hit the market, I'm sure it's going to be quite competitive, but, both of us will have kind of the playbooks that we'll run once we get there. But from an overall approach to the market, I don't see any major differences from that standpoint.
Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Thank you. As a reminder, to ask a question, you will need to press star, then the number 1 on your telephone. That's star 1 on your telephone. Our next question comes from the line of Vamil Divan from Mizuho. Your line is now open.
Great. Thanks for taking the question. So maybe just a couple from me. One on the PayFac integration that you've talked about for next quarter. Can you maybe just provide a little more insight as to the benefits you think that's going to provide kind of on that side of your business? And then the second part would just be maybe any update you might have around your efforts around migraine. Then you've talked about that being a matter of sort of when you work on that as opposed to if you work on that, but just curious if there's anything new as that market obviously is evolving pretty rapidly as well. So any new thoughts would be helpful. Thanks.
Great. Thanks, Paul. So first on the PayFac side of it, the real advantage to PayFac, in addition to participating in more of the overall margin stream of the credit card processing, the big advantage is it gives us access to the source level data. So right now the HintMD system is a robust credit card processor, but it doesn't necessarily give us access to the source level data. So things around data analytics and insights, and even automating subscription services in a way that's seamless and easy to set up, and white label loyalty become a lot harder if you don't have access to the source data. So by becoming a payment facilitator, we then are able to scrape that source data, which again, it'll be the practice's information, but then we can turn around and use that to help them with data insight and analytics. And so that's really the key functionality piece that's going to enhance. So we're very encouraged with how the beta launch of that is going and how it's performing. And again, that will be sort of the foundation that will build out these other services on top of. And again, it will allow us the ability to participate in a little bit more margin spread, if we choose to, hold on to that, or, if we choose to give it back to the practices. On the migraine side of it, to your point, we've talked about it sort of not an if and a when. And I think what we said most recently is that we would sort of consider this as part of our 2022 planning cycle. And so we'll be, I think, better prepared to address sort of where migraine fits into our overall therapeutic strategy and what priorities that we have ultimately for 2022 when we give a little bit more color on our 2022 operating plan.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you. Our next question comes from the line of Doug Tsao from H.C. Wainwright. Your line is now open.
Hi, everyone. Chris Bialis here on for Doug Tsao. Congrats on the quarter. So I was just a little bit interested in the prestige segment that you're targeting for DAXI. Now, a competitor of yours is heavily targeting the millennial demographic, and I was just wondering how much overlap there is between these two segments. Thanks.
Hey, Chris, this is Dustin. I think we need to separate the segmentation around consumer and then separation around practice. So the prestige strategy is around, our focus is really on partnering with those practices that drive value to the experiences they provide their patients, as well as the outcomes they provide their patients. So those practices see all patient types. Those might be millennials, middle-aged, and all in between. So our strategy is really different from the others in that we believe we can build the most amount of loyalty directly to those practices by providing that experience with us and great innovative products, and then the consumers that they treat will be loyal to the practice. So our loyalty really lies in driving it to those practices. So those practices will see all the millennials that will be coming into the space just as much as the other practices.
Awesome. That's very helpful. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Back to you, Mark.
Thank you. Again, as a reminder, to ask a question, you will need to press star, then the number 1 on your telephone. That's star 1 on your telephone keypad. We don't have any further questions. I would now like to hand the call back to Mark Foley.
Thank you, operator. Before I make my closing comments, I just wanted to recap some of our therapeutic milestones for the second half. My understanding is that the sound quality for that section was not great. So in the second half this year, we expect to share the results from our ASPEN open-label long-term safety study. Afterwards, we plan on filing a supplemental biologics license application in 2022 with anticipated in 2023. And again, that's for our cervical dystonia program. And then our clinical team is also preparing for a phase 3 program in adult upper limb spasticity. You'll recall that we completed our Juniper phase 2 study in February of this year, and our plan remains to hold an end of phase 2 meeting with the FDA before year end. So to close things out, in the coming months, we plan to virtually attend the Citi and Wells Fargo healthcare conferences. We welcome your requests for meetings at these events or directly through us. Feel free to reach out to Jessica if you'd like to schedule some time. With that, I'd like to thank all of you for participating in today's call. Thanks.